Næstur upp á svið ætlar að koma hann Samuel, hann kemur frá SOTI og við bjóðum hann hjartanlega velkominn. Gjörðu svo vel, Samuel.
Thank you very much. I have my presentation on my computer. Hi everyone. Well, I'm one of those guys that always brings my own computer when I do presentations. So for the next person after me, sorry. Perfect. Well, who am I? My name is Samuel Griffiths. I work as the team lead for the sales engineering team at SOTI in the Nordics. And what do we do at SOTI? Well, we help to manage your hardware. And how do we do that? Well, we've got a platform. It's called the SOTI One platform. There we are. And as you see, we have a couple of products here. And I'm actually going to deep dive and do a live presentation for two of them. That will be SOTI Motion Control and SOTI Excite. And in Motion Control, we take your hardware, as we have seen being presented by people here, and we'll see more presentation about that. But we take them, place them into the system, and when they're in the system, we push down, for example, firmware upgrades, applications, networks, network settings and such. And then if you would have an issue, we can then jump into SOTI Excite, where we can remote control into that device. That meaning that we can actually remote support your workers wherever they would be in the world or Iceland. And together with that, we also have an operation intelligence tool. That meaning that from all of your devices, we can actually pull out data and store it and see trends. For example, how your battery is doing, what applications are being used, and actually where your devices are in the world. We also have SOTI Snap, which is a rapid app deployment tool, drag and drop to build applications. SOTI Connect, the same as Motion Control, but for printers. So we can help you to push down the firmware for printers, push down security patches, network, whatever you want to do. And also, we do have SOTI Identity, which is a single sign-on solution. So where are we today? We're actually 1,600 employees around the world. We were 9 in the Nordics a year ago, or 2 years ago. We're 22 now, so we try to actually focus locally to help you out. We've been here since 1995, and I must say that Edico is one of our absolutely best partners that we have. Here are some of the customers that we have around the world. We have about 17,000 plus, and as you see, the verticals are from manufacturing, food, retail, healthcare, travel, really whatever you want to have. And I just want to pinpoint a customer success story that we have here in Iceland. So we're working with SHS. I will not try to say that in Icelandic, but what they do is that they manage the devices for the fire trucks and also for the ambulances around here. And so what we helped Olafur with is, for example, to push down the right applications and programs to his computers, and also during Corona, instead of him going into a truck to fix an issue with a device, and then they need to disinfect everything inside of that truck, he can do it from home. He can sit in his basement, remote control into that, and actually fix it. Some of the work tools that we work a lot with would be, for example, healthcare, also, of course, as I said before, in retail and also in transport and logistics. And as I am jumping into a live demonstration soon, but I will not talk about SOTI Connect, I just want to make some points about the printer management that we also do. So what we can help you, if you do have printers around your company, what we could help you with, if example ones would be to prevent security breaches. So one of the one of the biggest security threats that most companies see for the moment is that their printers are unmanaged. So we can actually help to push down the firmware to those printers to to block out the security holes. We can also, for example, to help you to reduce your maintenance, is that we can push down the programs to your printers. If you need to run updates for a program, we can help you to do that. We can even set up alerts to tell you what printer needs to change a label. So instead of going out to every printer around your company to check out the labels, if they're full, you can actually get a list in the morning. These are the ones I need to go to reduce that downtime. But from here into the live demonstration of motion control, This would be the scary part. I tried out my own network before today, so if it fails, as any good IT professional, I will blame the network. So here is the login we have if you are an administrator. You log into the system, you see the devices that we have enrolled into the system here. As we are device diagnostic, you see both we have Android, Windows devices, old Windows CE devices, Linux, iOS devices, really whatever you want to have. And all of these we actually then have a direct overview. We can, for example, say when they lastly connected to the server, manufacturer models, and even we can even change this and add, for example, I want to see the battery percentage of all of my devices directly. Press save. And for all over the world that we have demo devices, I actually get the battery percentage directly. So we see that we have a lot of them have more than 60%, it says here, which is good, but a lot of them have less than 50%. And if this would be in the morning, of course, this wouldn't be a good thing. So I can actually search all of them. I can say battery percentage less than 40%. I search for it. I then get a report of 27 devices. I can either do something automatically and send down a message to all of them and saying, hi, please put this device in the charger before you continue working, or switch that out for a fully charged device so you can finish your job day. Or this could be, for example, checking out if you're pushing down new applications and making sure that everyone is running on the right version, for example. So that is a bit about reporting, but how do we make sure that the devices that you have actually are doing the work they should do? Well, on the left-hand side, we do have a folder structure, and in this folder structure, you place your devices. So that folder structure could reflect your company. It could be, for example, geographically. It could be from the whole of Iceland, and then down to Reykjavik, and then different parts of Reykjavik. Or it could be just maybe, this is the job I'm doing, so that's why it should have been there. And in these folders, we then also have configurations that could be to silently install an application or lock a device so the end user doesn't do anything funny with it, for example. So say that someone is calling into support. 1 second. Someone is calling into support and says that they have a device that is fully open. They can do everything they want with it. For example, access Google Play to download applications. So what we can do then is actually to do a remote support. So you can log into that device and see why did you get access to everything. So when I log in here into SOTI Excite, I then get access to remote control. And now, yes, the network is working. And now I can get full control of this device. I can access all the applications I want. It could be anywhere in the world. I can access the hardware buttons if I would want to do that. So I can help out my user. And this issue, as we see here, as they have a full device, can be solved quite easily. So I talked about before having this folder set up. So I can then take this device and drag it into the retail folder, press move. And what we're doing then is to push down a HTML template, lock the device down, and decide these are the applications that the user is actually allowed to use. So he will actually then be working with this device, not playing around with YouTube or anything like that. He can do that on his own device. But if the issue is more particular, like more into not only with a full device, but something more specific, for example, maybe someone is calling in as an issue with a application or such. If you do not have a remote controlling tool, of course, you sit down and take all the information over your phone, you start typing it down, you go to development or escalate it, they will go back to you and say, well, you need to call the end user again to try to get this fixed. So, lucky enough, I do actually have a application with an issue in it. It's like I prepared. So to start getting information from that, instead of taking notes, I can press here to take a screenshot, for example. So directly I have a screenshot of the issue. So now I do not need to describe this for someone else that I need to help to fix the issue. So I can actually then go back and preview it. And if this issue would be even longer, maybe this is not the only step. Maybe it's a couple of steps. So how do you describe that? Well, we can help you with that too, with adding either video and video recordings with the audio. So if you have someone out in the field that have an issue with an application, instead of taking a picture and describing it, you can actually have them talking about it. So when you revisit this issue maybe in 1 day or 2 days, you get the full explanation from the live environment of what's wrong. So I just press here, I start recording, and then it might be, well, this is not the only issue. So after that application breaks, this application breaks in the background and I'm logged out from SOTI Hub. So I press stop recording. This video is then being processed and once again attached to the video. So if I would revisit it tomorrow or whatever day, I will actually then get this full explanation of the issue, of me talking about, well, that's not the only issue. When I do this, something actually breaks in the back end. And voila. So now we have the information, all the information we need to reproduce the issue. Next step would, of course, be, all the other questions will be, what application version are you using? What is the network you're using? What is the RSSI? Is this information that the end user can answer? Probably not. I couldn't when I was working in a food store, at least when they asked me. So I can press here on device snapshot, and all of that information is then being pulled from the device and displayed here. So I can, for example, see the battery percentage, how much RAM I'm using, and how much storage I'm using. And all of this, once again, is from the live environment. So I can even see the network name I have, or I did talk about the configurations before. Maybe some of this hasn't been installed. Maybe this is the issue, that the new application hasn't been pushed down. Or I can actually see all the applications on the device, and even with the version name there too. So when I press save, once again, all that information is being saved and pushed down and saved once again inside of this tool. So we have a lot of information. Next step would be, of course, to get logs. Example, the ADB logs and or the device bridge logs are the full logs of the device that really shows you anything that's gone wrong with anything on the device. One way to get that, and this is something that is very crucial if you need to fix an application, is that you take the device, hook it up to a computer, install Android Studio's SDK on the computer, set the device up in developer mode, reproduce the issue, write some scripts in the command line, press enter. And I dare you to get an end user to do this in the field. That will never happen. So the logs you will get from that will be from your testing environment. So if I press here on download diagnostic files, I press download. Instead of doing that full process, I get all those logs directly dragged down from this device just by pressing here. And voila, I have the logs here. I can once again preview them. I can come back to this whenever I want to do. And here I am. The all logs I want to have. And I can even get, if you would have an application that is dropping custom logs, so if you would have your either in-house application, someone to build an application for you, I can then make sure that we actually find those logs too when we press find logs. But this is not the only part of SOTI Excite. We also have another part here, which is the operation intelligence. So this is a tool for business intelligence for mobile devices. So what we do is we push down an agent to your devices, and then we start to pull the data and we present it here. You can set up, for example, to have a look. Maybe I want to have a look on the last 7 days, last month. I can do custom, and I can say, well, last year I want to see how last year compares to this year's data. Well, I can even actually have a look on different parts of the store. Maybe distribution to sales are very different. So if I go into sales, I will see I even have other devices here. And then I can have a look on the different data points. They could be battery status, what applications are they using, how much data are they using, and such things. So why have we then started, and why we started this is actually we get all those questions before. Was how is your devices, how is the battery doing there? We heard about companies actually filling in information in Excel documents saying what batteries are good or not. That doesn't sound like a fun job to do, but someone was actually doing that. So we started pulling that information out. And from here, you can then filter on, firstly, different manufacturers. If I do press on Samsung, the only information then will only be related to Samsung devices here. So only Samsung models, battery capacity, and even we can see the remaining battery capacity here too. As we see, we have something that is red meaning that the remaining battery capacity here is so bad. And battery capacity will, when you buy a device, you know you charge it to 100%, it actually stays at 100%. 2 or 3 years later, we charge it 100%, it dies after 4 hours. That means that it's not a full battery capacity. And if this would be true, maybe we only bought these devices about 4 or 5 months ago, this might just be the indication that we can go to procurement and say, hi, we have bought these devices that are a lot cheaper, but they're not doing the job as a rugged device should be doing, and we need to switch them out, and maybe a rugged device will do 3 years in this environment, so we need to switch them out 6 times, meaning that we will pay a lot more for those devices than we would do for a rugged device. And to continue from here, we can actually see why this battery has deteriorated. We can see it's been too hot or too cold. I guess in Iceland, maybe the weather wouldn't be the too hot part, but you can take a device, put it in the charger, and put it next to the radiator. And that will then make the battery expand to start harming it. And then you also have the too cold, and of course, you can leave the device in your car in the winter here, and it will start to decrease and also then hurting it. And even if you scroll down, we can even find things like maybe it's the wireless charging hurting the battery, or we can even see here that my colleagues are mainly using YouTube when they should be working. And if we block off YouTube, which is about 25% of these devices' battery usage, if we take away that application, maybe we will then save that device maybe 6 or 7 months more, meaning that we don't need to go to procurement to buy new devices before that. And even, so this is more for devices, and we have even got APIs to get information from the real battery. So if you do have smart batteries, we can also pull that information out. We can, for example, see how much battery capacities only specific batteries have. We can see the battery age, and we can even scroll down and see, well, what battery is located in what device. So inside the tool of Moving Control, you can then send a message saying, hi, you're using the wrong battery, you shouldn't be using this one, please put that one in the recycling bin, and then switch it out to a better battery. And the same would then be for example, application usage. In the way that you can filter it on the manufacturer models, and we can even go down to see what applications are the most visited. So of these 40 devices, almost 30% of the time people are jumping into YouTube, and we can even see how much they're using what applications. Of course, that instead of YouTube, you would like to see your own company's application where your users should be working. And we can even find out, for example, what applications that have been installed and that has not been opened. So if an unopened application would be an application that you have paid a license for, we can actually find out, well, this application is something that you shouldn't be paying for. You can have it in black and white and actually go back to that vendor and say, hi, either refund us or we won't be paying for this bill anymore. And together with this, we also have a watch list. So inside of this watch list, we can then set up different thresholds. And this might just be something that you understand that if this is happening to a device, this is something that makes it going to break soon, you can then be proactive and actually go out to that device and fix it before something happens. And for example, it could be if you're doing a 4-hour shift and you know that your battery is deteriorating more than 20% per hour, you can then go out and get it in a list. And when you go and have a look on that device, you can actually then go and switch that battery out before the user calls in and has an issue with it. And that could be also, for example, for memory and stuff like that. And before I quit, I just want to show you how that watch list works. And we can even find out, for example, for drops. And this is my colleague's device in England. He has dropped it 161 times without breaking it. It's got to be some kind of a record. It's not even rugged. So if you do have any questions, me My two colleagues, Vila and Sohail, we are over there. It's the black screen because it was hooked up to my computer. So if you have any questions, come and talk to us. Otherwise, I do know that Edico knows a bit more than me about these tools nowadays. So thank you very much.